You won't believe what was hiding in a grandmother's dusty basement in Annisquam, Massachusetts. While helping clear out the house, a guest stumbled upon a pile of old photograph albums, typical 1860s carte de visite.
And I love photographs. I photograph for a living and I teach it. So I just put them all in my box, in my bag, in my car, and brought them back to my apartment in Boston.
Weeks later, while flipping through one of the albums at her Boston apartment, she found something that stopped her in her tracks.
I opened this one day, and I was struck by what I found inside.
Right there on the first page was a signed photograph of Abraham Lincoln, right beside his first vice president, Hannibal Hamlin. As she turned the pages, more signatures appeared. Lincoln's entire cabinet, with names like William Seward and Edwin Stanton. Then came senators from across the United States, all with signed portraits.
What were your thoughts?
My thoughts were, wow, I can't believe what I'm seeing.
Years later, a grad school professor, a huge Lincoln fan, saw it and simply said, "You don't need to work." According to a seasoned appraiser, Lincoln's autograph alone makes the album a rare collector's dream. Though the senators' signatures might only fetch a few $100s, the cabinet members add serious value, and Lincoln's signed photo is the crown jewel. Altogether, the album is estimated to sell for.
If I were to tell you that this album at auction would easily bring between $75,000 and $100,000, would that surprise you?
Very much.
In over 2 decades, the appraiser had never seen anything like it. In the Tennessee town known for the Scopes monkey trial, appraiser Francis Walgren spotlighted the rare bucks behind the case. At the Rhea County Courthouse in Dayton, he showcased a quiet but powerful piece of history.
The book that he would have been handed to go into the classroom and teach is a book I've brought along with me, George William Hunter's A Civic Biology. It was published in 1914.
This was the very kind of book that sparked the trial, as it openly included sections on Darwin and evolution. Though mass-produced for classrooms, a surviving copy in solid condition today could bring in. But the real treasures in this story are the groundbreaking works of Charles Darwin himself. Walgren highlighted Darwin's Descent of Man, first published in 1871 in 2 volumes.
Descent of Man in 2 volumes, and in that book, he for the first time uses the term evolution, and he relates it specifically to the evolution of humankind.
A fine first edition of Descent of Man could now command $3,000 to $4,000. Even more valuable is On the Origin of Species, Darwin's revolutionary 1859 publication that introduced the theory of natural selection to the world.
Do we know how many of those were printed?
Probably around 1,200 copies.
In today's auction market, a clean first edition can easily be worth between.
And being the one that really is often considered the most important book printed in the 19th century, we'd have an auction estimate of $100,000 to $150,000.
Francis, it's been wonderful talking to you about all this.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
For collectors, these aren't just bucks, they're the original sparks of a global conversation that's still burning. For collectors and historians, these aren't just decorative pieces, they're a rare look into Tiffany's early work and vision. In the heart of St. Augustine, Florida, Flagler College holds one of the largest collections of Tiffany stained glass.
In 1968, the elegant building and grounds became Flagler College, and today this college dining hall retains all 79 of its stained glass windows, making it one of the largest collections of Tiffany windows in their original location.
These elegant pieces were originally part of the Hotel Ponce de Leon, a luxurious resort built by Standard Oil co-founder Henry Flagler in the late 1800s. To give the hotel a world-class interior, Flagler brought in the Tiffany Glass Company,
whose stained glass windows helped create interior spaces that were the epitome of Gilded Age splendor.
At the time, Louis Comfort Tiffany was early in his design career, using large-scale commissions like this to process personal grief and to make a name for himself. These particular windows were different from his more famous church or museum pieces.
These are simpler. They've been made in multiples, and Tiffany himself referred to these as ornamental windows.
Though produced in multiples, the detailed Spanish Renaissance design, murals, and stenciling created a cohesive, richly layered space. Some glass came from Tiffany studios, others from trusted high-quality makers. That sometimes blurs the lines of attribution. Still, with confirmed provenance, individual windows like these can range highly depending on size, design, and condition.
They would range in price from about $5,000 per window to $45,000 per window, and it really depends on the size, the condition, and the provenance.
It's amazing how something that started as a personal treasure can grow into a real investment over time. The owners used to vacation near the Tettons, and since Schweiering's studio was nearby, they got to meet him.
And we met him, we saw a lot of his paintings, and we were going to build a new house, so we had him do this painting for our living room, and I still keep it in that living room.
Back then it cost $600, which felt like a lot at the time, but now it's a treasured part of their home. What makes this painting even more special is the letter they received from Schweiering himself.
And the letter is directed to you, and it's on his stationery, his letterhead, which I think is great.
Yes.
From Jackson, Wyoming.
Written in 1966 on his own letterhead, it details the colors and ideas they discussed. The painting, titled Summer's Spell, is signed and copyrighted, so its authenticity is rock solid. Schweiering was a Wyoming native who dedicated his life to capturing the beauty of the Tettons.
He died of a heart attack at age 69, not terribly old.
He wasn't very old. Yeah.
Right.
Today, this painting isn't just a lovely memory, it's a valuable piece of art. Schweiering was one of the most famous painters of the Tettons, and his work is highly sought after by collectors. Although it sold for $600 back then, the current value for insurance is.
For insurance purposes, this is a painting that should be valued at $25,000.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know it was that valuable at all.
A pair of exquisite Cartier sapphire and diamond earrings recently sparked a surprising discovery about their true value. The earrings originally belonged to the guest's great aunt and later came into their possession.
Dad had an appraisal.
That would have been 1990 about.
For how much?
He thinks somewhere around 40,000.
Now, you recently had them appraised again.
Mm-hmm. I had them appraised within the last year, and they appraised them at 28.
Upon closer inspection, the appraiser found the sapphires to be about 6 carats total, with deep, rich color and no heat treatment. Qualities Cartier is known for insisting upon. The diamonds, totaling 6 carats, included a mix of square, pear-shaped and marquise cuts, all of exceptional quality. It was clear these were top-tier stones, making the lower appraisal seem off.
So let's go back to the appraisal. The first one's for 40, the second one's for 28. You know something's not right.
It's not consistent, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah, but I'm not happy with it either.
Okay.
Hey, I think he was trying to buy them.
After re-evaluating for insurance purposes, the appraiser suggested a retail value closer to.
At retail, say in a shop, $75,000.
Really?
Really?
Wow.
And noted that if the earrings were sold directly by Cartier today, they could fetch up to.
They were back in Cartier. I don't think they'd be 75. I think they might possibly be 100,000.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that surprises me.
This revolution both surprised and pleased the owner, confirming that these beautiful signed Cartier earrings were worth far more than expected. A stunning anniversary gift made by Tiffany & Co. turned out to be much more than just a family keepsake. It was created for the 50th wedding anniversary of the guest's great-great-grandparents in 1875.
Their son had it made, and he told them what he would like on it. And,
I gotta say, the son must have been fairly prosperous to afford it.
The piece is beautifully crafted. Its delicate inner decorations, shaped like leaves, are made of solid gold, while the outer frame is gold-plated bronze. On the back, it still bears the Tiffany & Co. stamp from their Union Square address, a detail that helps confirm its origin.
And it's in wonderful condition overall. It could have been bought new yesterday.
The family had never thought to have it appraised, as it had simply been passed down through generations. But the appraiser estimated that, if sold at auction, it could fetch.
Well, I think at auction, it's quite possible that it would probably bring between $15,000 and $20,000.
Really? Oh my goodness.
A remarkable value for a heartfelt gift that's been quietly treasured for generations. A wedding gift from a family friend turned out to be a hidden treasure. The guest brought in a drawing by renowned California artist Wayne Thiebaud, a personal piece given to her and her husband on their wedding day.
It's from Wayne and his family. My ex-father-in-law was very good friends with Wayne.
Though often associated with the pop art movement alongside artists like Warhol and Lichtenstein, Theobald had his own distinctive style.
One reason why he is typically grouped with the pop artists is because he mainly did paintings, prints, and drawings of everyday objects and made these objects in a way larger than life into fine art.
This particular drawing, done in pen and ink and dated May 5, 1990, features many of those signature elements. And in a sweet personal touch, it includes a sketch of the guest herself, flower in her hair, along with a handwritten wedding message from the artist and his family.
Little area right here where the ink seems to have smudged.
Because of its personal connection, recognizable style, and timing at the height of Theobald's career, the appraiser estimated its replacement value at...
I had to put a replacement value on this. I would say you're looking at about $30,000.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I didn't think I better get it insured.
A small collection of Dr. Seuss books turned out to hold a big surprise for a family whose grandmother once worked directly with the author himself. Barbara Bash had been Dr. Seuss's secretary in Los Angeles during the late 1930s and early 40s.
And so these were inscribed to her sort of as a parting gift when she was leaving to move back home.
Though the books weren't in perfect condition, they were missing dust jackets and not all were first editions, they still held decent value. The appraiser estimated each to be worth between.
But I would average these out at sort of $800 to $1,200 each.
Wow.
But one book stood out, The King's Stilts. Inside it held not just a signature, but 2 original drawings by Dr. Seuss, including a personalized farewell sketch labeled Goodbye Bash. Because of this unique touch, its value skyrocketed.
Now, I'm very happy to say that the value of this leaps, and I'd like to say $15,000 to $25,000.
Wow.
Or maybe perhaps a little more. Then that's an auction estimate.
Just for the one book?
Just for the one book.
A touching memento became a remarkable piece of literary history. A jazz-age muse, a hospital ward, and a bouquet of color born from heartbreak and healing. This painting was created by Zelda Fitzgerald while she was a patient at the Johns Hopkins Hospital in the 1930s, gifted to the psychiatrist who treated her. Known as the wife of F. Scott Fitzgerald, Zelda was more than a socialite. She was a writer, dancer, and an incredibly serious painter in her own right. Her life mirrored the highs and lows of the roaring 20s, fame, glamour, and ultimately a long battle with mental illness. Painting became a form of therapy, and in the quiet of hospital rooms, she captured still lives with a sense of emotional urgency. This piece, an oil on canvas of vivid nasturtiums, is framed in what appears to be a period frame and is in strong condition overall. Provenance is critical, and here it's supported by documentation linking the work directly to Zelda through its recipient, the guest's relative.
I don't have an authenticity question about this picture because you brought us some very compelling documentary evidence supporting the provenance. And this rather wonderful painting of nasturtiums also is convincing in its own right as her work.
The brushwork and composition align with other verified works, making it a convincing example of her artistic output. Only a few of Zelda's paintings have ever surfaced on the market, with one selling for $4,000 over a decade ago. Given her enduring cultural legacy and the scarcity of authenticated works, interest has steadily grown. In today, this intimate painting by Zelda Fitzgerald carries an estimated auction value of
would be between $10,000 and $15,000.
Well, that's very nice, thank you.
What started as a casual estate sale find for a high schooler and her mother turned into a historical treasure trove. At the time, they were simply indulging in their shared love for old photographs and clippings when they stumbled upon a dusty box of memorabilia. Inside, they spotted an image of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, standing among notable figures from Atlanta. Intrigued, they purchased the entire box for a mere $5, unaware of the remarkable contents it held. Once home, they sifted through the materials and uncovered something extraordinary, a large archive of telegrams, letters, and programs spanning Roosevelt's career from the 1920s through his presidency. The documents, totaling 60 items, were addressed to John S. Cohen, a prominent newspaper editor and publisher of the Atlanta Journal. Roosevelt had cultivated a relationship with Cohen early on, knowing that having the press in his favor was crucial to advancing his political ambitions. The collection began in the 1920s, before Roosevelt had entered elected office. One of the earliest letters referenced an editorial he wished to write for the paper, a clear indication of his strategic use of media. As the archive progressed, it included correspondence from 1928, when Roosevelt ran for governor of New York, mentioning his election results. A significant piece in the collection was an official invitation to Roosevelt's 1933 presidential inauguration, marking his ascension to the White House. Another fascinating layer to the archive was Cohen's own political rise. The latter letters, written on official White House stationery, reflected a long-standing relationship between the two men, with Roosevelt now addressing Cohen informally as Dear Jack. Recognizing both the historical depth and rarity of this intact personal archive, the estimated auction value is between.
I would estimate at auction at $15,000 to $20,000.